This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Body found with wound to head in Manchester. Police are probing the circumstances surrounding the death of a man whose body was found in Shadley, Manchester on Sunday morning. Head of the Manchester Police Superintendent Lloyd Darby said about 5:30 a.m. police were alerted to the community where the man's body was found with a wound to the head on a roadway. A reliable source told the news that the man is from New Jersey in the U.S. Man killed in St. Elizabeth ambulance crash identified. Police have identified a man who died as a result of injuries he sustained in a three-vehicle crash involving an ambulance on the Luana Main Road in St. Elizabeth on Saturday morning. He is 42-year-old Carlington Sr., a resident at the Mason of Springfield in St. Elizabeth. Police report that about 9 a.m., the ambulance was traveling from Black River towards the Middle Quarters when the driver attempted to overtake a tractor-trailer while negotiating a corner and collided head-on with a Honda motorcar being driven by Senior, which was traveling in the opposite direction. The impact resulted in a collision with a trailer. The occupants of the motorcar and the ambulance were rushed to the hospital, where Senior was pronounced dead. Fast food delivery man shot dead in St. Elizabeth identified. Police have identified a fast food delivery man gunned down on Coke Drive in Santa Cruz on Saturday evening. He is a 22-year-old Mokanin Jones, otherwise called Maka, a resident of Southampton in St. Elizabeth. Head of the St. Elizabeth Police Superintendent Dwight Daly said about 7:40 p.m. Jones was delivering fast food to a location when he was shot dead. He went to deliver KFC, and as he reached the spot, loud explosions were heard. It seems as though he was targeted, Daly said. We are appealing to anyone with information to call the Santa Cruz Police Station at 876-966-2289, 119-311 or the nearest police station, he added. Prime Minister hails Johnson Smith after Commonwealth SG bid. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is heaping more praises on Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kamina Johnson-Smith, following her failed bid to become Secretary General of the Commonwealth. Speaking at a reception this weekend in Kigali, hosted by Roland Price, World Bank Country Manager for Rwanda, the Prime Minister described Johnson-Smith as an amazing person and one of Jamaica's greatest talents, adding that Jamaica was proud of her candidacy for the Commonwealth top job. Johnson-Smith lost to the incumbent Baroness Patricia Scotland in a vote of 27 to 24 at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Rwanda. Business leader pessimistic about Jamaica's prospects due to high crime rate. Richard Pandohe, CEO of Separate Group and co-chairman of the Economic Program Oversight Committee, has decried the high crime situation in Jamaica, describing it as a crisis for which a solution must be found. Otherwise, he warned the country will keep losing valuable human capital and there will be no end to the cycle of economic and social instability. Pandohe, in an interview Saturday night with the news, asserted that what is happening in Jamaica is not normal and is threatening the stability of the country, citing it as our most significant stumbling block to the country's human and economic development, and in fact is one of the biggest drivers of the brain drain as people try to migrate to find a better quality of life. Unfortunately, he said, those who have remained in the country have come to accept as normal this high crime situation.
Jamaica's environment has been characterized by a high rate of violent crime, right? This has been the case since post-independence. It has been our most significant stumbling block to the country's human and economic development. And in fact, it's one of the biggest drivers of the brain drain as people try to migrate to find a better quality of life and a respite from this really abnormal situation, which we who have stayed behind have unfortunately come to accept as normal. Honestly, it feels like the society has become numb to the level of atrocity. And we keep finding new lows. Every time you see something and say, my God, can it get worse? It does get worse. I'm tired of the lip service and the politicizing of crime, right? And truth be told, crime is big business. It has intertwined itself in every facet of our society. Our culture glorifies violence, And I just don't see any possibility of our violent crime being reduced in the short term. It will continue to drain this country and make us poor. And it will force us to continue to move resources that should be allocated to healthcare and education, just creating a vicious cycle of creating undereducated, undernourished, and just hungry young men who then become a conveyor belt of ready supply for the criminal enterprise. Well, while I wish I could be more optimistic, but we keep doing the same thing every day, every year, and the reality is that the situation just continues to get worse. So, the way I look at it, our society is just not prepared to accept that we are abnormal, and this is not a normal situation, and we just need to wake up and just say enough is enough.
JMEA Mulder taking court action against the state over non-payment. 3 years after the implementation of the ban on certain single-use plastic products, local businesses are lamenting that they have yet to receive $1 of the millions they say they were promised in compensation from the Holness administration. In fact, the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association revealed that it has contemplated taking legal action to get the government to honor its commitment to compensate its members for the banned products they had in stock when the regulations took effect. In 2018, the government announced a policy to implement a phased ban on the manufacturing, importation, distribution, and the use of certain single-use plastic bags, plastic drinking straws, and expanded polystyrene foam products in 3 phases, starting January 1, 2019. In January 2021, stakeholders affected by the ban on styrofoam, plastic bags, and plastic straws were advised that the JMEA was willing to seek legal recourse on their behalf to obtain the monies based on the commitment articulated by Minister Darrell Vaz from 2019 regarding compensation for the plastic bags, straws, and the styrofoam which were banned and in the warehouses of the respective companies, the JMEA told the news. According to the JMEA, initially the total compensation cost was just over $53 million. However, an audit conducted by the National Environment and the Planning Agency on the banned inventoried items from October to November 2020 resulted in the figure being revised. The JMEA said it requested this updated information, however, this was not provided. The association was advised that the revised figures were sent to the then Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change. The association said since then there have been several failed attempts to have the state honor its commitment. The JMEA said it was advised by Vaz, the then minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation with responsibility for the land, environment, climate change and investment portfolios, and the Senator Matthew Samuda to provide the information the government had requested for banned inventoried items for the compensation mechanism. Between October and November 2019, 17 companies sent the data to the Finance Ministry per instructions. JMEA members were also advised to quarantine all banned items in inventory. The JMEA said a follow-up was done with Vaz in January 2020, and the JMEA was advised to write to Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, which it did in February 2020, and followed up in March and June that year. With no response, the association said it wrote to Prime Minister Andrew Holness in July 2020, but there was also no response. In September 2020, the association wrote to Colonel Charles Jr., then Minister with responsibility for the environment, and had meetings with him in November and December that year. According to the JMEA, frustrated by the whole affair, it contemplated taking the government to court, but decided against it because only 3 of the 17 companies were willing to pursue legal action. On June 7, 2021, a destruction proposal for goods embargoed under the plastic ban that were stockpiled by stakeholders was received from the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change. This was disseminated to stakeholders. These procedures were developed by NEPA in consultation with the relevant public sector entities. On June 22, 2021, JMEA was advised that a submission would be sent to Cabinet. The JMEA also noted, adding, "We are yet to get an official position from the government on the compensation mechanism. Attempts to get responses from NEPA and Samuda, the minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, were not successful." More than a week after the news sent a question to NEPA seeking to ascertain information on the government's commitment to pay businesses for unused products they had in stock, the state agency provided a terse response on Friday. The delay in response is regretted. "The agency is unable to provide a response to your query at this time," read an email from Public Relations Officer Shari Miller. The agency did not say why it was not able to provide a response. In the meantime, the JMEA said imports of plastic boxes and similar products for the conveyance or packaging of goods increased from US $5.12 million in 2019 to US $12.4 million in 2020. Quantities imported grew from 1,063 tons in 2019 to approximately 4,200 tons in 2020. In essence, local styrofoam production has simply been replaced with foreign plastic alternatives, supporting external economies, while the desired environmental impact of the ban has not been achieved, said the JMEA, whose president is John Mahfood. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.